Hello everyone, this is Dhaval Desai. Today I am continuing a video with HL7 technical details. So in the first video we saw a detail about HL7 history, some of the triggers, uh, where what is the hospital scenario we used, and we are continuing with a second video where today I'm going to provide details about HL7 Smart Viewer, how we read the different triggers, what are the triggers involved in a hospital system and real life scenario with example. And then finally, we'll see the actual HL7 message, how to debug the message, and what are the different components in the HL7 message. Uh, to get started, again, this is me, Dhaval Desai. I worked in healthcare industry for 16 plus years. I'm working as a solution architect, cloud architect, and software engineer. HL7 organization member, experience designing and developing end-to-end solution for cloud technologies like GCP, AWS, Azure, etc. Delivered many successful projects for enterprise, healthcare and retail organization. Worked on various standards like HL7, Fire, CCD, and worked with interface engines like Mirth Connect, Rhapsody, Connector, etc. In this session, as I mentioned earlier, we are talking about event-driven methodology, real-life event scenarios in hospital system or in the clinic system, overview of the segments and components, and HL7 viewer. Then I'll show you how where you can download the HL7 viewer and actually see the message step by step. HL7 messages. Uh, Before we get started, I'm covering the few of the slides from the last lecture, like HL7 format. So in our previous video, we at the end we saw the slides where how the HL7 message exactly look like. Okay, so in my previous video, when we were reviewing the HL7 message, I gave an example of a bookshelf. So let's go over that example again. Consider HL7 message as a complete bookshelf, and each horizontal shelf in that, or each horizontal each horizontal rack in that, consider as a segment. So if you are dividing the books by the categories, for example fictional categories, non-fictional categories, or uh, financial technical genre, those each category will consider as a segment if you want to match, kind of compare with the HL7 message format. Then inside each category or inside each segment, it further gets divided into fields. The field will consider if you want to arrange one kind of book together, like hard cover or paperback copies together. Then each of this considered as an example as a field. Then fields further get subdivided into components and subcomponents, and we'll see in the real HL7 example how the components or fields are further divided into components, subcomponents. If we consider the basic example of patient identity information, first name, last name, and last name, first name, or how they are different added together, or even the address field, how we are adding the address field as a at component and subcomponent level. So we'll see into much more detail further. Then we saw the HL7 message delimiter, and each of these delimiter is really important. And once we go more and more, once we see more HL7 messages, we definitely get a good hold of these delimiters. Like the most important one is a segment terminator, which will be each horizontal segment will get terminated with the carriage return or hexadecimal OD encoding character. Then the field separator. The field separator is inside each segment there are multiple fields, and those fields has to be separated with a pipe symbol. Next one is a component separator, subcomponent separator, which is the and sign, uh, repetition separator. So if we have something repetition or multiple occurrence of the same field, then we have to put it as uh, this tilde sign, repetition character, then escape character. Here is the example of HL7 message. So each HL7 message have multiple segments. So if you see here on this example, MSH is a message header. Message header is a common segment which will be available in most of the or all of the HL7 messages. Then EVN. EVN is nothing but event type. So what kind of event is happening here for this part of HL7 message? Then PID is a patient identification. So if you see in the patient identification, the pipe symbol, which is separating each segment with the pipe symbol is separating each field, and then a field will get separated into component, where we see the first name, last name, phone number, street number, and all those details. The next one is next to kin. NK1 is next to kin. PV1 is patient visit. PV2 is patient visit additional information. AL1 is patient allergy information. DG1 is the diagnosis information. Those are different segments in the HL7 messages. HL7 message. So here we see HL7 message, a different kind of HL7 message we find here, and these are some of the example of HL7 messages. Like if we go each example one by one, the ADT is nothing but handling a patient admission, discharge, and transfer event. So if patient is getting admitted or getting discharged or getting transferred from one clinic to another, so when we are writing the segment, when we are writing the HL7 message, ADT segment is gonna use. So there is another HL7 message is called ORM. ORM is order message. Order message is where a physician sends an ORM message to request a complete blood count for a patient uh, to the lab. ORU. Okay, basically, once the ORM is sent, the lab does the required blood work, blood count, and require whatever the result gets generated, sent back to the provider clinic by ORU, observation result message. Uh, the next one is medical document management, MDM. MDM message carries the physician notes about the patient's condition. SIU is scheduling information unsolicited. And scheduling information unsolicited message notifies the system about the newly scheduled patient appointment. Uh, about So SIU message gets sent between multiple systems. So when we see the actual example, I can able to explain in much more detail. When we are sending from provider system to lab information, scaling information, unsolicited message will also be used. BAR. BAR is nothing but add and change a billing account, message update patient billing information, etc. Okay, the I think this we already saw different segments in the HL7 messages. MSH is a message header, EVN, the event type, PID, NK1, PV1, PV2, DG1, PR1, and GT1. Guarantor segment, or GT1 is mostly about the guarantor related information, the insurance related information. Now let's deep dive into much more detail one by one triggers. So before we actually work on the triggers, I want to explain you that all the HL7 messages or whatever the communication happens, it mostly in terms of the triggers. So when the trigger has been initiated from provider system to the external system or between the multiple system, there are certain trigger conventions has been used. So for example, patient admission, ADT A01. So like let's consider this example: a new patient arrives at the hospital for some kind of elective surgery, or hospital generates an ADT is 01 message to update the patient record with the admission detail. So ADT A01 is basically informs the patient admission. ADT A02 informs the patient transfer. A patient is moved from emergency room department to intensive care department, or from one department to another department, is considered as ADT A02. And obviously patient discharges ADT A03, where patient is getting discharged from the facility, or the successful treatment is completed, and hospital is discharging the patient from the facility. The next one about the ADT triggers is about patient registration. So when a new patient comes a patient gets registered into the system. A patient complete registration process for the first visit to the clinic. It captures the demographic information and it assigns the unique patient identifier during the process. So that's the patient registration. Patient pre-admission. So patient pre-admission is basically before the patient schedules for the admission. Okay, so patient upcoming surgery is scheduled, and then ADTA0 message provides a pre-admission details such as the anticipated admission date and time. So that's why ADTA05 is used. And then patient information update, if there are any changes in the patient information or if it is uh, incorrectly entered, then the patient update information message has been triggered. At the same time, along with this ADT, I said there are cancel patient admission, ADTA11, cancel patient transfer, patient identity merge, or order entry. These kind of message are it triggers has been done. Along with this trigger, there are some others trigger as well for other HL7 messages, like uh, as we saw this earlier, laboratory result, order result unsolicited. So basically, when the laboratory results are ready, it's informing back to the facility that the results are ready, and that way the facility is aware of the detail about the results. Appointment scheduling is SIU12. A patient calls the clinic to book an appointment with a specialist, and SIU12 message captures all the appointment related details. Immunization admission. So immunization admission is when the patient receives a vaccination. Okay, so if there are any vaccination has been provided, for example, a child receives their scheduled measles vaccine, VXU04 message, which is immunization administration message, record the details about the immunization or the vaccine provided in the system. The next one is medication administration, MDM. Administration is whether the nurse administer insulin to a diabetic patient. An MDM T02 message documents the medication event. Patient allergy information. So ADTA34. So there is one more thing I want to mention here is each segment have uh, so different messages, right? The different fields, and each, I think there are total in version HL7 V2 version there are 40 fields. Each field are captured with a different significance. Like ADTA 34 is patient allergy information, where a patient reports a new allergy. For example, patient reports the allergy to penicillin, and then ADTA 34 message updates the allergy list into existing list allergy list of that patient. Then this is the most interesting one, the radiology report. Like basically, a radiologist reviews an X-ray and generates a report. Then what radiologist does is basically the radiologist system does ORU R01 message communicates with the findings and referring physician who performed a radiology. So ORU R01 message got triggered. Critical lab value notification. So lab value notification is basically again is part of ORU R01, which is similar to laboratory result, where patient potassium level is dangerously high, and ORU observation result unsolicited R01 message alerts the healthcare team about the critical lab value notification. The next one is the consultation request, where physician is request when physician requests a consultation from a specialist, and that's what we are making an entry in a system using ORM 001 ORM 001. Then patient identity merge, order entry. These are some of the other triggers happens in the real life while we are handling the healthcare practice management system or EHR systems. Uh, so next one we will look into the HL7 viewer and how the HL7 viewer helps to review the message. So this is a website where you guys can download a tool. If you see here, There is a message viewer, message sender, message receiver, message filter. You can download it, and you go to download link. There is a link available which goes to the Google Drive, and then from there you can download the whole package. I already downloaded it on my local, so I am gonna just open the downloaded document and open the HL7 viewer. So in this HL7 viewer, if we want to load a certain message, for example, I have certain messages here available. Let's go through this. So for example, if I want to open the patient admit message, so this is in the patient admit message, there are three segments has been sent. So if you see a bottom left hand side, MSH, PID, and PV1, there are three segments has been sent part of this message, and each segment have further divided into fields, then components and subcomponents. So let's review the MSH. So MSH have uh, fields like field separator, the first one, encoding character, sending application, which application sending the message, sending facility, which facility is sending this, then receiving application, receiving facility, date and time, and message type, what is the type of the message. So if you see in the message type, it's mentioned ADTA01. ADTA01 is basically patient admit. And then if you see on the right hand side, message code is ADT and trigger event is ADTA01. So both separating ADT and A01 with tilde sign, which is a component and subcomp. Basically, it's a component level. Then message control ID, process ID, version ID. So this is one of the example. But if we load the other messages, like for example, patient transfer is the same example, patient discharge. So here in the patient discharge, we'll see the message type has been changed to ADT A03. If we load more messages, like more complex messages, like ordering blood test. So this is ordering a blood test where the doctor is sending the order. And if you see the segment here is MSH, PID. MSH is a message header, PID is a patient identifier, then ORC segment where the lab order is actually created, and then OBR. So if you see the observation control ID, observation order number, fill order number, place number, order status, verification by, parent and verification by. And here the similar way, each segment has been divided into fields, and then this field has been subdivided into components, entity identifier, and namespace. And similar way, once we receive an result back, so ORU message, observation result unsolicited, where you will see this OBX segment. The OBX segment gives the observation and the result of the value. So here the observation is identified as hemoglobin, and the value found for that hemoglobin is 14.2. The units has been used, any abnormal flags, observation result status, and date and time of the observation. This way the HL7 messages has been transferred from one system to another, and also be used in multiple HL7 triggers. Going back to our presentation, okay, so we already saw HL7 viewer. There is a HL7 filter is also there on the website, where which filters the certain messages and certain scenarios. So go over it, and then HL7 smart HL7 message sending and message receiving. Yeah, I think this is all for the this video. In the future video, we will start looking into each HL7 message in detail. Uh, and that's the main thing about the HL7 V2, that we have to look each HL7 message in detail. What are the segments involved, and what are the fields which are important for HL7 message needs to be remembered while designing message. I mean, obviously, there it is not each and every field are required, but we will see the required fields and optional fields, and how can we construct the HL7 message, then how we'll build the interface, merge connect, and few other things in the future videos. uh, Again, this is our organization, what we do. So our organization will help others to build this kind of HL7 fire, CCDA, or Mirth Connect solutions. And if anybody needs these solution for their healthcare organization, please feel free to contact us, and we can further discuss your business use case, and will provide the solution accordingly. Thank you. Thanks for watching this video.